We've been stuck inside for weeks, but there is still time to learn a showstopper dessert you can serve your guests when you're ready to have people over again. Come on, quarantiners. We can do it. It's time to roll up those cakes. Today, we're making chocolate roulade.
The eggs are the heavy lifters in this dark chocolate dessert. For our chocolate roulade, we're using only a few ingredients. I've got sugar, eggs, some cocoa powder, dark chocolate chips, and to make this dairy-free, I'm going to make the whipped cream with coconut milk. We'll start by melting our chocolate. I've got 6 ounces of dark chocolate chips that I just put in a metal bowl, and I'm going to place the bowl over a pot of simmering water. I've got about an inch of water in this bowl. You want to make sure you don't have too much water in there because you don't want the water to touch the bottom of the bowl. You could also use a glass bowl. You could even do this step in the microwave. You just want to put the chocolate chips in for about 30-minute spurts and stir in between each one. I'd rather do it on top of the stove. This will only take a minute. Once the chocolate has thoroughly melted, you'll see no discernible chocolate chips. We'll set it aside to cool and head to the mixer. We meet again. So I'm going to start by whipping our egg whites. I've separated, so far 5 egg yolks and whites. And if you've never separated an egg white, there's really not much to it. You actually just want to crack it and let the whites fall through your fingers while you hold on to that yolk. It takes a minute sometimes. So we'll start with the egg whites. We will just whip these to stiff peaks this time. We want those really pointy peaks. And then we'll set those aside and work on the egg yolks. This is why I love baking. We started out with just a bottom full of clear, viscous egg whites, and they have whipped in just a matter of minutes into this gorgeous mountain of foamy goodness. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll start with the yolks. Next up, we've got the egg yolks, all 6 of them, going in with 6 ounces of sugar, and we will whip these together until they're pale and creamy and about doubled in volume. Now that the egg yolks are pale and creamy and fluffy, we will mix in, I have too many spoons going here. We're going to mix in the cooled chocolate. So we'll pour that directly into the egg yolks. We'll incorporate this and then we'll start adding our egg whites. Now that the chocolate is incorporated into the egg yolks, we will start slowly adding our egg whites. Now the trick to this whole thing is you really want to keep the air in this because we want it really light and fluffy in the end. So I'm going to start with just a small amount, I've got maybe a couple tablespoons of egg whites that I'm just going to fold into the chocolate mixture. And folding is just rolling your spatula from the bottom of the, whatever this is, a pot, pan, I don't know, bowl, thank you. Rolling from the bottom up to the top until it's incorporated. So we will add the rest of these egg whites in smallish batches, working quickly and working very gently to keep as much air as possible. Once the egg whites are thoroughly combined with the chocolate mixture, I'm going to sift 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder over this mixture and again fold gently, keeping as much air as possible in the mixture, and then we're ready to bake. This velvety chocolate mixture will go into a prepared pan. And because we're keeping dairy free today, I've actually used coconut milk. What am I saying? Coconut oil. Geez, it's early. I've used coconut oil and cocoa powder to dust the pan. So this is going to go in and I will just even it up. I know I said we need to keep as much air as possible in the cake, and that is true. But we don't want air pockets in our cake. So right before going in the oven, here we're all ready to go, I like to give it one big tap. And then we're going in a 350 oven for about 10 minutes. We'll just watch it. And here it is. What a beauty. That actually took more like 20 minutes in the oven. I should have read the recipe before I told you guys how long to put it in. Anyway, we're gonna set this aside on a wire rack to cool for about 10 minutes and get started on that whipped cream. I think I like this coconut whipped cream even better than the real thing, but it requires a little planning. So I've taken my mixing bowl and the beater and stuck it in the freezer for about 30 minutes. And I have a can of full fat coconut milk that I refrigerated overnight. So you want to take just the top part from the can. It's this thick creamy stuff, and there'll be some kind of watery stuff in the can. Leave that in the bottom. You only want this coconut cream on top. So we're going to take the coconut cream, a little powdered sugar, and whip it together, and that's it. Okay, so our cake is nearly ready to go. I've just got some parchment paper down on the counter that I'm going to dust with a little powdered sugar, and then we will flip our cooled cake out of the pan and onto the parchment. We are almost ready to roll. Now we are ready to roll. We're just gonna fill the cake with this whipped cream. It's tempting to go crazy, but it will just squish out the sides if you add too much. So put it kind of just in the center with about a 2-inch border on either side. Once your whipped cream is ready to go, pull, have the short side facing you, and it is helpful to score the cake. That will kind of help you get rolling. Don't go all the way through, just kind of score it. And then using the parchment paper to help us roll, we will just lift and roll the cake over that whipped cream. It's gonna crack a little. That's okay, it's supposed to look rustic. We are rolling, and there you have it. And the finished product. Pretty impressive, huh? You can just dust a little powdered sugar on any of the places that look cracked and not perfect, but it is perfectly delicious. That cake is so velvety, and it's gluten and dairy free. You should definitely put this one on your list. You can do it.